Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel. Today I have some leaf themed DIYs for you. I think it's a fun fall season and I'd love to get to DIY one. I started out with this pumpkin from the Dollar Tree and I'm just filling that hole at the top with some wood filler. Now I used some Waverly chalk paint in pumpkin and it's getting low and I've looked everywhere trying to get a refill. So I'm just sanding down that hole. Am I the only one that has issues with getting that smooth and not seeing that hole? If you're with me, comment below. It takes me a couple tries, I tell you. So I'm just painting the top of that. And in an earlier DIY, I had started to stain this already, so I decided to go back with the antique wax and just go around the edges. So both my grateful are staying there as well as the leaf, and I just took a wet wipe with antique wax. Now I'm taking these gem stickers from the Dollar Tree and I'm covering them with some ink Waverly chalk paint. Gosh, I love the Waverly and plaid paint. That's why I became a plaid ambassador. I just love their products. Now, here's some faux leather I got in the fabric department of Hobby Lobby. I'm just gluing that down across the pumpkin. And you just have to be careful because, you know, it is a more plastic textured item and I would use a low temp glue gun with it. Now just trim off the sides. And just make sure to get that all smooth. All right, so I'm attached my leaf there with a little bit of hot glue. And now I'll attach the grateful word. I just love the contrast of the browns and the pumpkin. I think it goes together so nicely. This is one of my favorites out of the four that I'm bringing to you today. And just make sure you get those little pieces of glue off. You can use your heat gun. Just be careful not to get too close. So that you don't melt your pleather. All right, now I just took those little gem stickers to make little like nail heads on each of the corners of this. I think that turns out so cute. It just perfect accent. If you haven't grabbed those gems, I would suggest it. And here it is. Here is one unbelievable collab. Krista from Krista's Crafty Life is the host and I'm the co-host. All of us ladies got together and made leaf themed items. The playlist will be below, so you'll want to check that out. DIY 2. As you know, I love an old truck, so I took this graphic and I added autumn is my favorite color. So I put that and ran it through my printer on my Hippo Waterslide Decal. And I just printed that, put clear coat over it 3 times, and then put it in this warm water for 30 seconds. Now I just slide it off the backing onto this Dollar Tree plate. This was just a white plate that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm just taking this little squeegee, getting the water out. You can definitely just use a paper towel and push it out that way. It will work just fine, but I have this tool and I just got it from the Dollar Tree makeup area. So just rub that out and get all the water from underneath the decal. But that's what helps you position it and slide it around on there. That's what's neat in comparison to a sticker. So now I just took this pick and trimmed off all of the leaves. You just trim them all off together. That way you're ready to go. Then I took the one end and I took the leaves off of another pick, and I'm just sliding them so that they go opposite directions. This will be a good base to my little swag that I'm going to put on the plate stand. This is my leaf part of my DIY. So next I will just put some other leaves to make it a little bit fuller and, just finish this little arrangement. Next, I'm going to take a zip strip and just go around those. It's a quick, easy way to hold these all together. And I just leave it a little bit loose when I first put it on there. That way you can finish positioning them and you can finish positioning the zip strip, zip tie. If you have little black ones, that would even probably be better. So pull it tight and then clip it off. Next, I'm taking a couple leaves to finish off the front of this, plus it will cover that up. We don't need that tie showing. Just clip those off and go each way. What would I do without my glue gun? I just love the vibrant leaves that they had this year at the Dollar Tree. They were so pretty. Look at this. Do you see that fabric and the shimmer to it? Gosh, I got extra of those. I will probably be using some of those next year because I really love it. That is a big leaf though. All right, a little bit of hot glue and that will be the center. And that should take care of this mini little swag. Just put that on there and then get the plate and then just fluff the leaves around the plate. But I put the words on there. Autumn is my favorite color because it is. It's just such a vibrant, beautiful season. DIY 3. This DIY couldn't get much simpler. I gave you a free printable. I designed it. I tried to make the leaves look like they're floating there. All you have to do is clip around the edges to make it an 8x10. Oh, by the way, if your favorite part of the season is leaves, leave me a leaf in the comments and a comment about it. Or if it's pumpkins, leave me a pumpkin. Or an L or a P if you're on your PC and can't get to a pumpkin. That way, just curious. I love the leaves. That's my favorite part, but a lot of people are all about the pumpkins and the harvest. And so all you have to do is pop this into a frame. This was a Dollar Tree frame, so simple and budget friendly, yet has a beautiful look to it. I hope you like this. And now our final DIY 4. Okay, I tried to spray paint that at first after I carved some of the little ridges off, and where I took off those ridges is where that other spray paint, the first spray paint, ate it. So you can spray it, just make sure it's covered. I just covered that then in ivory, and now I mixed some mineral and some white, or ivory, I suppose. And I'm just going to go through and accent the ridges just a little bit. So this is very simple painting. All I'm doing is going in between those ridges, and I painted it ivory. Now I took a plate and I also spray painted that white. It was just a clear plate from the Dollar Tree. And I took a styrofoam disc, also from the Dollar Tree. And now I have these red maple leaves. What I did, oh, and you can see these are bent all over the place. I don't know how they were packaged. Some of them were actually adhered on to the back of it wrong. But what I did was I just went around the outside on the bottom. Now in between those leaves, I'm going to go around and put leaves on the next layer up, and I'm putting that right into the top. I figured out if you take your heat gun and just go over the leaves, it melts that plastic just a little bit and it lays down flat. This one was all twisted though. I think this one I actually figured out was glued wrong, but so just snip it down. It doesn't need to be too long to just go into the disc. And after I get them all into the disc, I kind of go around and look and see which ones are kind of twisted and sitting funny, and just take it on the low temp of the glue gun. Now some hot glue on that icky bottom, which used to be the top, but you know, you want to be frugal, and so I just flipped it over. Now I took a piece of nautical rope. I'm putting some hot glue on the end. And just push that down on some wax paper just to give it kind of a flat end there and adhere the fibers together. Now I'm going to take this rope all apart so that we can make our stem. And a little bit of Mod Podge. Again, another lovely plaid product. I love plaid. I'm sorry, I just do. All right, so just paint this all over it. We're just trying to make sure that once we twist this, it will stay how we put it. So I gave it a couple good twists, and now I'm going to just use some painter's tape. Oh, I'm sorry. I did use my heat gun to dry it a little bit and put some painter's tape. That heat gun was just over $10. I'll link it down below. I got it on Amazon, as well as all of the supplies needed for the DIYs. Now I snipped off that glued end that was holding it all together, and I'm just moving those fibers around to have it sit on top of the pumpkin the way that I want it to. Now I'll add some hot glue so that we can adhere it to the pumpkin. I think that rope kind of gave it a realistic look. You could have painted that green if you wanted to. And just hold it in place and press it down until it's fully attached. Now I took this metal leaf from one of my signs and just painted it in celery and moss. Now I just shoved that into the styrofoam. And now I had this candle holder that I had also spray painted white. And now I'm just using some super glue. I'll stick it on the bottom and flip it over. I'm sorry, I thought I had put a picture of that earlier. And here it is. Oh, I think this turned out pretty. My sister has some purpley reds going on at her home, so this will go to her. Here's one more look. I do want to thank you again for spending some time with me. I hope you got just a little bit of inspiration. Please go to the playlist below and visit these other lovely ladies with their fall DIYs. Here's a peek at them again. Thanks again. Here's a couple videos you might enjoy. You can hit the subscribe right in the center.